Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, today we appeal the ruling of the chair because the proposed amendment is clearly germane to Senate Bill 5487, the bill before the House that we seek to amend. Both Senator Rivera's bill and the amendment relate to the public health law. Since the beginning of COVID-19, the governor has modified and suspended countless directives related to the public health law. While many argue the governor's superpowers have been repealed, he continues to issue executive orders directly affecting the public health officers' law. On March 5th, this chamber passed a bill, and I quote from that bill, to terminate executive powers. As we've all seen, in reality, this bill does nothing of the sort. The governor has retained his powers and his unilateral control of state government. And he gets to keep those powers. They've actually been expanded and extended. Originally, the due date was April 30th that they were going to expire, but now they're extended until the end of the pandemic. And it's difficult to get an answer on when that will be. We have no idea. Under the law, directives already made by the governor remain in effect. What's more is that the governor maintains the ability to modify or extend his directives by giving 5 days' notice to the legislative majorities for review and comment. This law explicitly leaves out any notification or requirement to notify the minority. And just as equally critical, in my opinion, is that it doesn't require any advance notice to businesses, communities, and the public that's impacted by these mandates. On April 6th, the governor said that the 11 p.m. curfew for the bars and restaurants would remain in place until May 6th. Just a few days later, he changed that, and he said he was going to extend the curfew to midnight. The question that I have about this is that did the governor follow the law and provide the 5 days notice to the legislative majorities? And if that's the case, if he did provide that notice, why didn't my colleagues on the other side of the aisle use that as an opportunity to take the necessary steps to eliminate the curfew? Section 3 of the law requires the governor to provide on his website in a searchable format additional information detailing the justification for these emergency directives and suspensions. In my opinion, that is not working and we need to fix it. And that's evidenced by the calls that so many of us are getting every single day from constituents who are asking for that justification. Looking at the governor's website myself, I haven't been able to find that information. It appears that there's justification for just 7 out of the 175 directives that the governor extended on April 6th. Why is this acceptable? Why aren't we taking action to correct this? You know what? We all hear those questions over and over again. Where is the science? Where is the data that supports these decisions? New Yorkers are really no longer at risk for COVID in bars and restaurants between the hours of 11 and midnight than they are between the hours of midnight and 1 or 1 and 2. Again, where's the data? We all want to see it. Last week, I had a reporter from a Syracuse newspaper reach out to me. He wanted to know if I knew what data the health department was using for the curfew, because the health department has absolutely refused to respond to his questions about what information they have. Madam President, the health department needs to share the data they are using to make these decisions. Business owners and the public deserve answers. We, as elected officials, we should be demanding transparency, and the Senate majority needs to use their powers to get the answers and to put an end to this. These arbitrary restrictions are hurting our local restaurants and bars, which are essential to our downtowns. They're essential to the economic livelihood of our communities. Many of these small businesses have closed, and too many others continue to struggle under the state's ever-changing restrictions. Section 5 of the law states that the legislature may terminate a state disaster emergency by concurrent resolution. During the March 5th debate on this bill, it was stated that if there is something in there you don't like, put it in a resolution and call for its repeal. We have the ability to do that with a simple majority. My colleagues and I have put forth 2 resolutions. One to rescind the curfew for bars and restaurants, another to rescind the mandate that requires customers to purchase food with alcohol. These resolutions have yet to be taken up. Our bars and restaurants are screaming for help. They're begging for our help. We're nearing peak tourism season. The state is launching a tourism campaign called Roam the Empire. It's to encourage New Yorkers to travel and vacation within our beautiful state. I think this is an absolutely fantastic idea. In the spirit of this campaign to bolster local tourism, we should be doing everything possible to support our tourism and hospitality industry, which includes removing the curfews on our bars and restaurants. School reopening is another area I believe where the state has failed New Yorkers, failed our children and families. The Senate should be leading the way on safely reopening our schools. We should be united in supporting the education of our children, their academic and social development, and their mental well-being. After waiting 6 weeks for updated guidance on reopening, the Health Department on April 9th released this information, but it was difficult to find, right? There was no grand announcement. It seemed to be done under the cover of darkness. The guidance, which generally follows the recommendation of the CDC, also left our schools and our county health departments scrambling and jumping through additional hoops to reopen. The Senate should be doing everything in our power to support students and families, small business owners and employees. The Senate should be doing everything within our power to stimulate our economic recovery and help people get back to work. But I think that's our problem, right? That we're not doing everything within our power. And the reason why we're not is because we've given that authority to the governor. We can do better, and we have to do better. We need to completely provide legislative oversight. This is how we ensure the voices of our constituents are being heard on the important matters facing our state. And so again, I urge my colleagues, for the good of our state and the communities and the people that we represent, restore the lawful role of the legislature. Reinstate our co-equal branches of government and our system of checks and balances. End the governor's extraordinary powers once and for all. For these reasons, Madam President, I strongly urge you to reconsider your ruling.